Do you remember? Do you remember laughing until it hurt? Do you remember when you made that great jump shot? Do you remember spending hours working on a project and then it was finally completed? Do you remember how much fun you had when you were with someone and they shifted your life and shifted your thinking? Do you remember? Well, they don't. And you need to quit sitting there and resting there because it is over. It is time to move. Many people have gone through different situations and they have accomplished different things, and they tend to stay there in that place. Have you ever listened to people talk about, oh, I have this uncle, and every time we go to talk to him at the family reunion, he's always talking about, well, you know, when I made that jump shot, well, you know, when I made that touchdown, and he keeps reliving the same thing, the same play over and over and over again. And everybody's like, we know, Unc, we know you made the touchdown in 2 seconds, and everybody cheered. Well, you know what? I'm not saying that those occasions are not special and that we should not spend time thinking about them or remembering them, but we cannot sit there and rest there. We have to move on beyond that. Let's take a situation like this. Have you ever been in the store? I'm sure you have. Have you been in the store and in the cashier line, and once you have gotten up and you've put your items through the belt and they've all been bagged and you're paying, the cashier says, once she's finished with you, she says what? Next. She says next. Why? Because she's finished, or he's finished, or your time there at that cashier line is over. It is time to move. Time to move on. You don't just stand there once your bags are packed and you've paid for your items and you have your coupons that you can't use until the next time you come in. I digress. But anyway, you don't just stand there and wait and keep smiling at her. No, you get your items and you move and you leave the store. Why? That moment is over. So it's time to get out the way for the next person. There are people waiting behind you. There are people waiting behind you, waiting next to you for you to get out of the way so that what? It's their turn, so that they can step into that place, so that they can now go through and achieve their goals and their dreams. But you're in the way. So stop trying to have a moment and stop trying to continue on in a phase in someone's life who doesn't want you. Stop trying to continue on and continue in a phase of an event or project that is over. It is time to move. So of course, you know, I have 3 ways to recognize when it is time to move. The first one is when the space you're in is too small. When the space you're in is too small, why would you take something of value and try and push it into a space that can't hold it? You are going to mess up the space that you're putting it in and mess up that item, correct? Especially, let's say you have a picture that is worth great value. Well, what do you say to the movers? Hey, watch it. Turn it to the left. Turn it to the right. Watch, you need to tilt it because you're about to scratch my wall. Correct? Well, it's the same thing with our purpose. It's the same thing with the assignment that is on our life. You're going to hear me say that over and over and over again. The assignment on your life. You are trying to put it in a space that's too small, that can't hold you. When I want my water, I drink a lot of water. So when I want my water, I put it in a jug. I wish I would have brought it with me, but I put it in my jug that's really big. It holds about a gallon of water or something like that. But anyway, if I drink like one of those and like a half, I've had my fill for the day. But when I want some hot tea, I don't put it in that jug. I put it in a mug that's smaller that holds my tea, that I want my tea in. And so it is with your purpose, with the assignment on your life. When you are housing something that's of major value, you're housing something of great importance, great knowledge, great skill, great wisdom. You have information that was given to you. I'm not saying nobody else has it, but there is a special marking. There is a special call. I'm going to say it like I heard it. There's a special call on your life. And so but you're trying to house it in something that can't hold you. You are equipped to hold more in your life. So stop struggling and allowing it to take up space. It's time to make room for the more. You can house more than what you're holding. You can do more than what you're doing. You can go more places than you're going. You can accomplish more than what you're doing. You can do it. Why? Because you're fully equipped to do it. You just have to go into a space that can hold you and stop trying to sit in a space that is too small. Okay, number 2, how do you know when it's time to move? When it is no longer, say it with me, healthy. When you are in a space that's not healthy for you, it's time to move. You are having more than enough. No, let me say it like this. I always have some illustration. Having more than enough candy as a child is one thing, because as a child, they can get sick. As a child, they can have a stomach ache and they can feel discomfort if they have more candy than they can hold. But as an adult, having too much candy can not only result in a stomach ache, but it can cause you some discomfort in a greater manner. It can give you problems way beyond just a minor stomach ache and I don't feel well. So you need to ask yourself, what am I doing or connected to that is causing me pain? I feel like I just need to sit right there, hit pause, and you need to rewind and come back up to that statement. What are you intaking that is causing you pain? Pain in your mind, pain in your heart, not just pain in your body, which can ultimately be the case, but just pain. What are you intaking that's causing you pain? What decisions have you made that are resulting in you being unhealthy? And sometimes mentally and emotionally drained. It's time to back away from that. Back away from it. My cousin used to say, back away from the table and take a break. So you need to back away from the table and make a conscious decision to only intake food that's going to be healthy. Only intake those things that will help you be healthy. I'm only going to intake these kind of books. I'm only going to intake this kind of conference. I'm only going to intake things that will help me be healthy. Why? It's time to move. It's time to move away from the unhealthy. Move away from that. Move away from that. So how do we know when it's time to move? 1, when a space that you're in is too small. You're housing a whole lot and you're trying to put it in something small. Stop it. Look in your mirror and say, stop it. Stop it. Number 2, when it is no longer healthy, it's time to move. Where you are, whether it be a job, if you have a job that is causing you pain and anxiety and you can't sleep and it's just a whole lot going on, because why? I'm going to just tag this in, because you know that your heart is somewhere else. You know that you really are desiring to be in a different position or start your business, but you're still at your 9 to 5 when everything in you is pushing you out and it's just making you sick. You can't even function. It's unhealthy. It's time to move. You're in a space that's too small and it is time to move. Number 3, lastly, you know when it's time to move when the task is completed. When the task is completed. It shows you that when your task is completed, let me back up. You know it's time to move when the task is completed. When it's time, when you put a check mark on it. Oh, I'm going to paint my living room. Okay, once your living room is done, what? You put a check mark. It's time to what? It's time to move to the dining room. Oh, I painted my dining room. What? It's time to move. Put a check mark by it. Why? Because it's done. You're not still standing in the dining room with a paintbrush. No. You're waiting for it to dry and you're waiting to move on. Because why? The task is completed. It's time to recognize when there are no more pieces to that tree. I'm going to use this illustration, of course, my puzzle pieces, because I'm the puzzle lady. When you have a puzzle that you're putting together, if the picture on the puzzle has a tree, has a bench, maybe has a sky and some flowers, once you find all the pieces to the tree, you'll hear somebody say, oh, my tree is finished. Now let me go work on my sky. They don't keep sitting there finding pieces for the tree. Like, how come I can't find a brown piece? I'm trying to put together the bark. No, the bark is done. The leaves are finished. You've completed that tree. It's done. So how do you know when it's time to move? When your task is completed. I've done that part of my assignment. I've completed that part of my assignment, and it is time to move. That relationship is over. That job is no longer fulfilling. Your assignment to that project is over. Don't worry. Don't lay there in sadness. It's all going to be okay, because why? It's just time to move. It's just time to move. Thank you so much for your time, as always. And remember, you have everything you need that pertains to being, doing, and fulfilling the assignment that rests on your life. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.